All rise.
This is Deeper Than Money. Talk to me. I want viewers watching my show to believe in themselves.
Judge Hatchett is compelling.
If he is not going to honor you, he needs to be gone.
Compassionate.
I don't want you to give up on your dreams. I don't. And I want to figure out how we get this straight.
She's powerful.
If I were in this situation, I would have put you out too.
And she's on the bench.
I feel like I'm being judged here.
That's what I do.
You're watching The Verdict with Judge Hatchett. Walter Davis is suing Amber Green in the amount of $4,655. Mr. Davis claims his ex-girlfriend offered to care for his pet capybaras while he relocated, and says when he got settled in, Ms. Green refused to give them back.
Hi, I understand that you are suing the defendant for some $4,655. Because you're saying, I read the complaint, that she is not returning animals that belong to you.
Yes, Your Honor.
So wait a minute, how do you all even know each other?
Well, this is my ex-girlfriend, Amber. And we dated for about 2 years. And about a year in, we got some capybaras. And I personally...
Now, listen, I saw that in the complaint. You have got to explain to me. I've never heard of that before. So can you explain that to me, please?
Actually, I have a photo, Your Honor, if you'd like to see one.
I would really like to see. And pronounce it for me one more time. They are...
It is a capybara. It's spelled with a Y, but you don't pronounce the Y. It's capybara.
Okay, I got it. Capybara. Ooh.
Well, yeah.
These are big.
Big.
I mean, I was thinking like hamster size. No.
I'm a big guy. I thought about getting a mouse, but this felt a little bit more appropriately sized for me.
Capybara. You know, you learn something all the time.
I've never heard of it.
Okay, so I'm not the only one?
Nope.
Okay, all right. So understand that I'm not the only one. So a year into the relationship, you bought 2 of these, I understand, from the complaint.
Correct, yeah. I was at the Austin Zoo and fell in love with them.
So show me with your hands how big they are. I just want to get a sense.
I mean, it would struggle to fit on the pulpit, to give you an example. It's about yay big, about maybe 3, 4 feet. Think like small German Shepherd. It's like a small to medium-sized dog, Your Honor.
Wow.
Anywhere from like 80 to 150 pounds, depending, just like, people, plenty of variance there. But
got it.
About 150-pound rodent that, to my knowledge, is chill with everything in nature. There are pictures of these capybaras with alligators, with all sorts of different predators. They are everyone's friend. And there's something really attractive, personally, about, a creature that's friends with everything.
And so you were saying that you were all together for 2 years, and about a year into the relationship, you decide to get these animals.
Correct, Your Honor.
And why? Why?
It was Walter's decision to get them. I love animals. I grew up with animals, and I had a dog for 16 years named Rusty. Right around the time that Walter and I started dating, I lost Rusty.
I'm sorry.
So, thank you. He saw how devastated I was, and he brought this crazy idea to me. I also had no idea what a capybara was. I had to get him to show me a photo of one so I could really wrap my head around the entire idea. And I thought that because they're so different from a dog, that it would help me get over the loss of Rusty.
In other words, you weren't ready, I'm assuming, that you weren't ready emotionally to have another dog.
Correct.
So you buy 2.
Yes.
Yeah, you have to, Your Honor. They are social creatures by nature, so owning one is actually, I guess, in a sense, against the law. And it's seen as cruel to the capybara to essentially have it live that, what's the word? Solo lifestyle, for lack of a better word.
So do you have a male and a female?
2 males.
2 males.
Glenn and Powell.
Glenn and Powell.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, I'm with you. Got it. Okay, so now, but somehow you're in my courtroom today.
Correct.
So why?
Well, the long and short of it, Your Honor, is I was working a lot more, Your Honor. I was going to a work conference specifically, and I had ran into an old flame at said conference. And I made a mistake, Your Honor. I did cheat on Amber with this old flame at this conference. Came back from said conference. Amber and I had decided to end things as amicably as things can end after something like that occurs. There was text messages that this previous person had sent me, and Amber had seen those messages. And
you let that part out, because it sounded like you just came home and you just confessed. That's
No, Your
not
Honor.
quite what happened.
I was caught and then confessed, Your Honor.
It's a big difference.
That's a really big difference. It's a big difference.
Coming up on The Verdict with Judge Hatchett.
So why not just let Glenn and Powell stay where they are? Talk to me, Walter.
Because they're my boys. They're my little dudes.
And later,
How is it that you know sign language?
I know sign language because my mom is deaf, so I've learned sign language since I was a kid, and she also took me to classes so that I could learn the official way.
Also, so you're certified.
if you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want to bring your case to court, call 1-888-552-6878. You're watching The Verdict with Judge Hatchett. The Verdict with Judge Hatchett is back with the case of Walter Davis, who is suing Amber Green for stolen property.
How did you see the text message?
He left his phone out, and I noticed that he started to get more text messages after this particular conference. And because he was spending so much time away working, our time together became more and more sacred to spend with myself and, of course, Glenn and Powell, who he rarely ever saw at that point. Anyhow, I saw the text message. I, of course, read the text message, and it seemed very tender and personal. I confronted him, and to my dismay, he did not deny it. So I told him that he had to move out. And he reluctantly agreed and told me that I could take care of Glenn and Powell throughout his moving process. And at that point, they were primarily in my care as I was their primary caregiver. He was never around.
So when you were told to move out, what was your understanding about what would happen to Glenn and Powell?
My understanding of it, Your Honor, based on the verbal agreements and just the general conversations that we had around it, was that she would very graciously take care of Glenn and Powell for, an unforeseen amount of time while I got a new situation sorted out for them. And then once that situation was sorted out, and by a situation, capybaras have very specific living requirements. And
Tell me what you mean.
So, for example, they are aquatic creatures. They prefer water. They need water. So we installed a above ground pool at Amber's place initially, and that is part of the cost that I'm trying to recuperate. But the point being is that once I had set that new enclosure up, if you will, at my place, then Glenn and Powell would come and live with me for the foreseeable future, being that they are mine.
But now, if you're traveling a lot, who's going to take care of them when you're traveling?
Well, one of the side effects of me going out and earning enough money to make sure that we could afford the pool and the hay and all of the other requirements, the specific requirements that they have, was I had to go out and work more, and unfortunately that meant that I was around less. And so while I was financially being responsible for Glenn and Powell, I unfortunately wasn't able to be as physically present as I would have liked.
So what is it that you want the court to do?
Well,
do you want the animals back? What is it that you want?
In a perfect world, I get my capybaras back. I just want Glenn and
how
Powell
are you going
back.
to care for them if you're always traveling?
Well, I mean, the bonus is that when I was always traveling and having to work those additional hours to be able to afford them, a big chunk of what I was also paying for was Amber's rent at her apartment at the time. Now that I am in a newer apartment, or a different apartment, not necessarily newer, unfortunately, but it is less expensive. They still have all of their needs met. I actually have a built-in pool now instead of an above-ground pool.
So they really are living large.
They're living large now. They're going to be
house.
living large if today goes as planned, Your Honor.
Well, we'll see about that. All right, talk to me, Amber. What's your position about all of this?
I feel that capybaras, not even just Glenn and Powell specifically, but when you take them out of their environment, they become unsafe, unaware, and I was their primary caregiver.
Are they still with you now?
They're still with me now,
All right,
in
go
the
ahead.
environment that we raised them. So our home, my home that he moved into, was their first home ever. And furthermore, he travels all the time. I know he's talking about traveling less. You can't just have any pet sitter take care of these animals. They have to be licensed. They have to have their home, which is inspected, that complies with the local ordinance in order for them to have a safe environment. You can't just hire somebody last minute to take care of them. We both have to go through a licensing process.
Like I can hire a dog sitter.
You can't do that with a capybara.
Who doesn't have to be licensed. I can get someone just to walk a dog.
Right.
This person has to be licensed?
Yes, we both have licenses that we had to receive and get so that we could lawfully care for Glenn and for Powell.
So why not just let Glenn and Powell stay where they are? Talk to me, Walter.
Because they're my boys. They're my little dudes. I mean, at the end of the day,
So do you want the money or do you want the pets?
The pets, Your Honor. In a perfect world, I get my pets back.
All right, let me hear from you and I'm gonna rule. Anything else you want to tell me?
I feel that the best solution to move forward would be to talk about joint custody of them. I'm happy to comply with him and to work with him, and I was happy to do that before you brought us into court, but here we are. So I think the best thing for Glenn and for Powell is to have both of us. I think it would be a lot for them to be removed out of their primary environment, away from their primary caregiver. If he wants to be in their life, he also needs to show that he can be in their life.
That seems very reasonable to me. So I think that, in my opinion, really is the only one that matters because I'm the judge, right? That there should be an award of joint custody. And so these Glenn and Powell are going to come to your house at a reasonable time when he's not traveling, all right? Can you all work that out without me having to put down every single thing? Or do I need to do a joint custody agreement here in this court? Do I need to do that?
I feel confident that we can work it out, Your Honor.
Do you really? Honestly?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so this is what's the
behave.
ruling of the court. Technically, I'm going to rule and I'm going to dismiss your claim for the damages with the understanding that there is going to be joint custody and a plan that I'm going to sign off on before you leave the courthouse today. All right? Anything further?
No.
If not, we'll stand adjourned.
All rise.
Judge Hatchett has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's claim has been dismissed.
Any final words or comments for each other?
I'm glad that we came to somewhat of an agreement.
No.
Gather your belongings. Let's exit to the rear of the court.
Coming up,
So this is the sign for date, right? This is the sign for meet. He kept doing every week meet. He was doing it wrong.
you're watching The Verdict with Judge Hatchett. Neil Lambert is suing Melanie Beacon in the amount of $250. Mr. Lambert claims he enrolled in sign language classes so he could ask out a deaf classmate and says his attempts to communicate failed, so he wants a refund.
You're suing the defendant for some $250, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Kind of unusual contract, so tell me why you're suing the
Yes.
defendant.
So originally, my classmate here notified me that she sold ASL classes, $50.
Wait a minute, you gotta explain now. What are ASL classes?
Yeah, American Sign Language, Your Honor.
All right.
And so I went ahead and signed up for her ASL classes in order to go ahead and just be able to ask this girl out on a date.
So wait a minute. So you signed up for, he signed up for your classes.
Yes, Your Honor, he did.
To take sign language
Classes, yes.
Yes, Your Honor.
So that you could ask someone out on a date.
Yes, Your Honor.
And so am I to understand that the person you were asking out on a date is deaf and that's why you need to do the sign language?
Yes, Your Honor. I met her at the beginning of my freshman year, and then we just kind of reconnected having a biology class this semester. And so from that point, we got assigned a group project. I started texting her back and forth, and now that we were getting closer, I was like, you know what, I want to go ahead and I want to do a little more.
So you were going to teach him sign language?
Yes, ma'am.
And how is it that you know sign language?
I know sign language because my mom is deaf, so I've learned sign language since I was a kid, and she also took me to classes so that I could learn the official way.
Also, so you're certified?
Absolutely.
You're certified?
Yeah.
Coming up,
Did she interpret for you what you signed to her?
No, Your Honor, nothing beyond what you said. You should probably never say that to anyone.
you're watching The Verdict with Judge Hatchett. The Verdict with Judge Hatchett is back with the case of Neil Lambert, who is suing Melanie Beacon for breach of contract.
When the plaintiff came to you, what did he say to you?
He said that I came to him, but he was eavesdropping on a conversation I was having outside of class and heard that I teach ASL.
Okay.
And so he approached me saying, hey, I want to take classes. And I explained to him, I have a course that you can take. It's 5 courses, $250, $50 each course. We're going to meet 1 day a week for an hour, but he did have homework assignments that he was supposed to go out and do. He was only studying for 5 minutes before class. You can't expect to learn a language when you're barely giving it any time and attention, you know?
Did he come to you and go the sign language to say, hey, I want to go out on a date? And did you correct him? Was it wrong? Was it right? Was it acceptable? What happened?
So every time I would show him, so this is the sign for date, right? This is the sign for meet. He kept doing every week, meet. Do you want to meet? And I kept telling him, this is date, this is meet. He was doing it wrong. He wasn't comprehending. He wasn't retaining the knowledge. That's not my fault that he's not taking the time to pay attention to what I'm doing and then go on and practice that.
Well, okay, so let's fast forward. You ask her out on a date.
Yes, Your Honor.
You're suing Melanie for this $250. Why?
Yeah, well, Your Honor, as it reads in the text message here, in her text message, she responds 2 things. I don't know who taught you sign language, but they need to be sued.
That's what the person you asked out on the date.
Yes, Your Honor, that was Alicia.
Well, I would think that you would get some props behind even trying, even if it was screwed up. But I also think it was unrealistic that you were going to jump into this class for 5 weeks and decide that you were going to be able to just be able to communicate.
Judge Hatchett's verdict when we return. You're watching The Verdict with Judge Hatchett.
So I am going to insist, Melanie, I'm not going to grant his petition for the $250.
Okay.
I am going to require you to do another 5 sessions.
I would love to do that.
Because what we're going to do is you're going to go and you're going to get really serious and not just say, I want to go on a date. We're going to really immerse you in this. You're going to do the homework, you're going to do it, and then you are going to go again and ask this young woman out for a date. Do I need to be on the phone with Zoom with you to do that with her?
You don't have to do that, Your Honor. I can do that.
You can do that. And I tell you, if she has anything about her, that old folks say she has any business about herself, she has any business about herself, she's gonna go out with you.
Right.
Watch what I tell you. All right, for the reasons I've explained, I'm gonna deny your request for the $250, but you're gonna go back and get another 5 lessons. That make sense?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, there's nothing further. We'll stand adjourned.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All rise.
Judge Hatchett has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's claim has been dismissed.
Grateful I get to teach you some ASL for real this time.
I think I'm willing to take the class, but if I can find a better teacher, that would have been cool too.
This has been a production of Allen Media Group.